Grab Life by the Goals is the podcast for passionate badasses to get inspired, activate their potential, and crush their goals. In a nutshell, we do big shit around here. Whether you're looking to disrupt your career, start or grow a business, or simply have a more kick-ass life, you're in the right place. Come to be inspired, find your swagger, dream bigger, and take actual steps to level up your life. All with a side of real talk and raunchy humor. I'm your host, Lauren Widrick. I'm a life and business coach, and I'm right here on the roller coaster with you. Are you ready? Let's do this. What's up, my badasses? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Grab Life by the Goals podcast. And I have a really fun, special, sexy, swoonworthy episode for you today. Those were all S words, and it's because I realized that my secrets to success all start with the letter S. In fact, I came up with 29 of them in a channeling, journaling session led by Jessica Lackey as one of our squad kickoff events. So in today's episode, we're going to be running through literally 29 things that start with a letter S that contribute to at least my success. And I'm hoping that these things will inspire you and you can listen to this list and go, yes, maybe not that one, but yes. And just get inspired by the whole thing. Now, I asked myself, is this really a podcast episode? Why am I going to list off 29 words that start with the letter S that lead you to be successful? And I'm like, this felt like a download from the universe. I'm like, are these chapters of a book? Is this some kind of workshop? Like, what is this? Because every single word, as I say it, you're gonna be like, oh shit, there's another S word that really makes a difference. I will start with one S word that you'll find in the middle of the list is squad. But I want to tell you about our squad, the Grab Life by the Goals squad. Y'all, it kicked off on Monday. I'm recording this on a Thursday, so 4 days later. I am shook. There's another S word. Literally shook by how slamming this community is. You know, you guys heard me talk about it for weeks, months, however long on this podcast, how excited I was, the build out. There are literally almost 30 founding members. And watching these people just communicate and interact, and my role is really no longer to be the coach, although I have run a couple of coaching calls this week. It's to air traffic control people to the ones that they need most to be supported. Another S word. I just can't believe it. If you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, go over to @LaurenWidrick. I put up a reel just a couple days ago that's basically like a behind the scenes tour of our online platform. Now, not everything in the squad happens online, but we have this really robust networking platform called Mighty Network. And I've customized it for the needs of our squad, but we've got a main activity feed down the center. So if you just feel like scrolling Instagram or Facebook, fuck that. Come scroll a feed of people doing big, significant, purposeful things. Activity feed, there are special interest groups like real estate investors, podcasters, side hustlers, sober curious, book nerds, right? Like there's so many groups you can participate in. We have events, and these may be the very best part. There are 3 calls you can join every single week online on Zoom, and there's 3 to 4 in-person events every single month. And oh my God, you guys, we just booked a hip hop dance class in Lower South End where we can go dancing and then go to the brewery afterward. There's a dinner at my house. There's an elevator pitch breakfast coming up. It's so good. It's so good. And now I can talk to you guys about it from a place of seeing it manifest instead of just being like, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. Like, it's great. It is great. I turned on all the notifications on my Mighty Network. That's the platform that we use. And everything else on my phone, notifications are off. But I turned them on for this and they just ding all day long. And I don't know if I'll keep them on forever, but I'm just like, oh my God, he's talking to her. And those two are talking. And like, oh, this person cheered this person's comment. And like, this person put up a really good post. And now everybody's rallying for support. It's crazy. I just made a decision today to switch the squad to application only. The reason being, seeing in real time how amazing all of these connections are, the quality of people, and the true generosity. Like, I just want to maintain the integrity of that group. I want to make sure that everybody who comes in is somebody who's willing to give as much as they receive, that they're purpose-driven, that they're cool, like that we're all going to benefit from one another. So over the next few days, I'm going to be updating the website where you have to actually apply. It won't be anything hairy or crazy, but just a few intake questions. You'll talk to me or a teammate and just make sure that like culturally, you're going to love it. We're going to love it. Like all the good things, because guys, this squad is so good. If you want to join, go ahead and DM me on Instagram @Lauren Widrick. Like I said, we'll get the conversation started. And if you have any questions about what it's all about, let me know. But I just had to brag on these people, not even bragging on myself. Like all I did was create this container and then all these people flowed in and they're just crazy good. Like I've been a part of other groups and masterminds and networking groups. I've never experienced anything like this one. So I just had to brag on my peeps. If you're in the squad and you're listening, oh my God, what a great first week. Okay, so let's dig into these 29. God damn, I wish I could have come up with one more so I could say the 30 S's of success. Maybe it'll come up while I'm talking, but the 29 S's of success. So like I said a minute ago, the very first squad event, I had Jessica Lackey run it. Now, you've heard me talk about her a ton. She's a fixture in my life. She's my spiritual business advisor, my COO, many other things to me, but we talk every single day, right? And she led this session and it was very slow and spacious. Lots of room for journaling. It was called What's Your Why? And I always think I know my why. And I've done this exercise a million times as a life coach and I've done it with others, but something was special. And maybe it's because it was that big squad energy coming through. Something was, special. There's an S word. There, we made it 30. Something special came through as she was talking and I was journaling and meditating. What do you want your life to be? And I wrote down the words at the top, a sensual, swoon-worthy life. Now I said, no, this sounds kind of funny, but like, that's what I want. I want like a buffet of the senses. I want a life that I would swoon over. Like if somebody else was describing my life to me, I would want to be like, oh my God, that just sounds amazing on every level. So I wrote a sensual, swoon-worthy life. And then I wrote the word sexy. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of S words. And then I started writing out all of these other words. I'm like, holy shit, these apply. Like this had to come from the universe because I never could have come up with this on my own. But as these words channeled through my pen and I read them, I'm like, yeah, no, I am working toward desiring, setting goals in all of these areas. Some hot and heavy, some are on the back burner, but like, I want to read this list to you so you can hear which ones resonate with you. Okay. I'm going to go through this pretty fast. This is not going to be a long podcast episode, although I say that and then I get rambling. Let's read these and then see what comes out because I believe this was downloaded to me by the universe itself. All right, first S word is significance. I want a life of significance. I want to have a purpose. I want to be on my deathbed and say I actually fulfilled my destiny and my dharma on earth. I want to do things that matter. And for you, that could mean something huge, like starting a worldwide movement, or small, like being a significant fixture in your family or community. So significance is number one for me. Oh, I should mention before I go on, these are not in any sort of particular order. These just like came out of my butt in very random order. So some of these are like big deal stuff. And then some of these are silly stuff. In fact, silliness is one of them. So there's no rhyme or reason to the order in which I'm reading these. Okay, let me keep going. Swagger. I want to move with confidence. And guys, this is actually one of the weaker areas in my life right now. I feel very swaggy about business in one particular area, but like I'm going to be vulnerable for a second and actually admit something. I'm not feeling so swaggy about my appearance. And I know I'm going to sound like a whiny white girl for 5 minutes, but like I, like most women and many men, do feel very insecure about my appearance. I am so sick of looking at my botched nose job. I'm going to get that shit done in September, an S word. In fact, mark my words, getting it fixed, right? I feel like my skin is aging faster than normal. I'm the most physically out of shape that I've ever been. And I have this weird habit, like whenever I'm feeling unattractive, I tend to get a haircut and bleach it blonde because I can look back through pictures of my life and be like, every time I was like a little bit pudgy, I had short blonde hair. And I'm looking at myself in the camera right now. I'm like, just on Friday, I cut it short and I bleached it blonde because I always think that's going to make me feel better. So I just wanted to be vulnerable and admit that to you guys because I know I talk a lot about swagger and confidence, and I do feel attractive and, awesome, but I do struggle with confidence in that area. And there's a couple other areas in my life where I'm struggling with swagger, like parenting, for one. This is deep shit. I didn't think I would go here, but Sean and I have been really digging deep. Like, are we being the parents, the quality of parents, the type of parents that we can be for our kids? Or are we kind of chucking an iPad at them after dinner because we're both tired? So there are areas where I'm lacking swagger. And then there are areas where I feel so fucking swaggy, like the squad, for instance. Again, it's not about me, but the fact that like I allowed the universe to channel this squad concept through me and executed on it, I'm super proud of that. So anyway, belabor the point about swagger, but that is one in my dream life of success. I'm feeling swaggy and proud and confident in all of these areas. Next S word is streamlined. meaning not a cluttered life. So my life right now is a little bit cluttered. I'm not going to lie. My home is cluttered. My laundry pile is cluttered. My desk is cluttered as I record this podcast. In my dream world, things are clean and streamlined, meaning like I have a kind of a minimalist household. My desk is clean. You know what I mean? I have a streamlined wardrobe. I know what I'm wearing. That would be ideal for me to get sort of, I guess, organized. But I am always working on that. In fact, don't tell Sean Daddy. He won't hear. He doesn't listen to this podcast. For Father's Day, I'm going to like purge the garage for him. So that's one way I can streamline our lives. The next S is the stages. I know that my fully expressed dream life includes me speaking on stages, but this also includes comedy. Now, again, this isn't about fame or recognition for me, although, okay, fine. It's a little bit about those things. It's like 2% about those things, 98% about giving people edutainment. I want them to be educated, inspired, empowered, and then laugh while they do it because, God, I've been to so many conferences and events that are useful, but they're not that fun. And I think my job is to help activate people, right? And if your directions are very serious, like, are you really going to go back and be excited to jump on it? Like, no, come to my conference. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, or come to my comedy show. And I want you to leave feeling light and excited and ready to go. And the stage is my jam. So some of you listening are like, oh my God, me too. And some of you are like, that's my fucking nightmare. So don't think all of these S's apply to everybody, but mine definitely includes the stage. Okay, here's a big one. Spirituality. My dream life is very spiritual, and I even wrote the word surrender next to it. So it's become abundantly obvious to me that when I get woo-woo about things, it works. Woo-woo works for me. Trying to plan everything to the nth degree is not working because I'm not that good of a planner, to be honest. You guys know I have a squirrel brain. You guys know I'm all over the place. So trying to like make a to-do list, great, I can do that all day. Sticking to it sucks for me. So I think letting the universe guide me and answer the questions that I'm seeking is everything. So I don't know if I've told you guys this story. I have. The way the squad was born was on the eve of my 39th birthday, which is also Sean's 44th birthday. We're 5 years and 1 day apart, or 4 years and 364 days apart. I don't know which one. We're 5 years and 1 day apart. And I just slumped in a chair one day and looked at him and finally just said, I'm lost. What should I do next? And I think it's the one and only time in years of owning this business that I've actually surrendered and said, I don't know, right? Instead of being like, should I do this or this or this or this or this? Like trying to figure out the best plan. I just said, I'm lost. I don't know what to do next. And Sean, I think through the universe, said, you need to create an annual membership. You can't pick and choose what you're good at. Like give them all the things. And I'm like, oh my God, fuck. So as the squad was being born, I was deep into like Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, which is very woo-woo stuff. Kyle Cease, these like power manifesting books. So that is what works for me. And if I have a life of surrender where spirit actually can guide me, I know I'll be happy and fulfilled. Next up is supported. And I kind of mean emotionally and morally supported. So I guess like therapy. But what I really mean is actually supported. My dream life includes help. I was joking. We had a squad call today. It was life and career coaching, and we were talking about our dream vision. And I was like, guys, my dream life is one where I'm not on the hook for doing anything. I'm really not good at doing things. So in my dream life, there's a chef, there's a car detailer that comes to my house, there's a household manager, there's landscaping, there's somebody who comes and does my pedicure. Like this is all very bougie shit. You can hear that. But like that's my dream. That's my aspirational life, is where I have lots and lots of help. You know, we do these exercises in business coaching where we're like, okay, what's your revenue goal? And then back up. Why? Where will that money go? And for me, the vast majority of the profit will go back into the squad so that we can have bigger, better, fancier, funner events, travel events, all those things. But a fraction of that money will actually go towards supporting me so that I can be a better CEO or, shepherd of the squad. And that involves getting me some help, because if I'm surrounded in clutter, right? If I'm trying to figure out like who's going to fix the broken curtain rod in my house, true story, like I can't focus on being there for you and for my family. So that's what I mean by support, is I want like hired help and I want to pay them fairly and richly and create a really great working environment for them. But man, mommy needs help, and that's what's coming in the dream life. So I said this one would make its way in the list. Of course, the squad, a squad. And if you don't have a squad, I'll say this one goes for everybody. You need a squad of people who are going to support you and push you and take you to that next level. So I am very lucky to have the Grab Life by the Goals squad. Until it was formalized, though, like until recently, I still had that. Our community of entrepreneurs, it wasn't quite so structured as it is now. We were there for each other and I didn't feel alone. And I have a squad of friends who support me, my family. And Sean and I, this is sort of like breaking news, as I like to tell you guys all the messy action. We're forming a real estate squad. So for real, we have been talking to multiple couples and people with whom we would want to go into real estate investment deals with, like multifamily, short-term rental, things like that. So whatever your goal is, whether it's like a fitness goal or a sobriety goal or anything like that, find yourself a squad that can support you. And look, our squad covers off many, many of those areas. Like within the Grab Life by the Goal squad, we've got real estate investors and we've got sober curious and lots of other groups, but find yourself people that can support you because I think it makes all the difference in the world. Somewhat related to the squad, another S that would be true in my dream life is social. So as y'all know, I just love to party. It's like my favorite thing. I love to host parties at the penis pool. I love to attend parties. I love to plan parties. Let me put it this way. I like to plan parties. I like other people, like that support to come help me with it. In fact, we had a squad party a few weeks ago. I had a kickoff, like a launch party for the squad. And we had 50 or 60 people here at the house. And I hired a party planner. Shout out to Jen Bishop of J. Lee Events. She is awesome. And it was so great just to get ready in peace and like not have to Google where the linens were coming from. Like she did all of it. So anyway, sidebar, I love parties. It's where you can connect and make eye contact and laugh and connect person A with person B and make memories and like be crazy. I don't know. So social is super duper important to me. It doesn't have to all be in a party format. Like I love coffees and breakfast and being with people, but I am a major extrovert. And I feel like most people in my life are introverts, including my husband, but I love to be social. So that's a big S for me. Okay, here's another one that's kind of fun. Stylish. So I'm not naturally stylish. If you're watching YouTube right now, you're going to see that I am wearing my Grab Life by the Goals t-shirt, which I wear 4 days a week. I like to be stylish, but I don't know how, if that makes sense. So in my perfect world, I would have a fashion stylist who knows me and my body and my vibe and just like delivers me clothes with all of my piles of money that I don't have right now, and an interior designer. So same thing. I love to have a beautiful home, and I have like 2 rooms that are professionally designed and the rest are not. And those rooms look fly as hell. And I'm like, okay, I want to live in a stylish environment, but not one that I have to put a lot of thought and effort into. But I think that comes down to swagger, right? Like, doesn't matter what the decorations are in your house. It really doesn't matter. But like when it looks good and people come over, you kind of feel proud and you kind of like sparkle a little bit more. Same with clothes. Nobody likes you because of what you wear or don't wear, right? I don't have any designer purses. I don't have any diamond jewelry except my ring, like my wedding ring. And I don't think people care. But on the other hand, you shine a little different when you swipe on some lipstick than when you don't. So like, I think stylish actually matters to me. So I'm going to leave that one on the list. The next S is stretch, as in stretching myself to reach bigger and bigger goals. You know, one of my core values is growth, and I might change it to S so that we can keep this S theme going. But I can't imagine staying stagnant, more S's. I cannot imagine having the same job for 30 years or, you know, making the same income for 30 years. I'm not dogging those things. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because that might not be on somebody's success list. There are people who want serenity and security. Actually, both of those are on my list too, but like those matter more than stretching yourself to double your income or get a bigger job or a bigger house or whatever. But for me, I am turned on by the journey of growth. I can't imagine not having a goal that I'm working toward. And maybe later in my life, I will kind of rest for a little bit. But right now, I feel alive when I'm being stretched. Like being on stage for stand-up comedy, I'm like, oh my God, I've never done anything like this. I sucked at it. However, it stretched me. Or building out this squad. I've never technically built a community before and like paid speaking arm of my business. I've never really been paid like, I don't know, $10, $15, $20,000 to do a talk on stage. But like growing into those things is turning me the fuck on. And that's the kind of life I want to have, is a lit up, turned on life. So stretching is an important one to me. All right, I'm looking at my list and realizing I have so many more S words to go. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Selfless, using my gifts to serve others. I have gifts that do serve others. I have the gift of activation, the gift of exciting people, the gift of connecting people, right? Maybe the gift of humor if I get better at comedy. I have other gifts that are just completely left on the shelf. And I know that like that's really about being of service. Is service on my list? Yeah, maybe selfless and service need to go together because I do not do as much as I would like in terms of philanthropy, fundraising, donating to causes that I love, donating of my time. I do some of it. I don't do nearly enough. So in my dream life, I am truly selfless, truly of service. And outside of philanthropy and volunteering, like let's talk about friendships. I have so many friends that are so selfless. Like I have friends that like deliver gifts on my doorstep every other week, that send me cards, that send me texts. And I think back to myself, I'm like, am I even half as good a friend to them as they are to me? Like I really put my own shit first a lot. And I want to be the type of person that wakes up in the morning instead of being like, what do I got to do today? I'm so stressed. What am I thinking about? And actually being like, which of my friends needs like a love hug today? I'm going to send a really nice text to Kristen or a really nice text to Julie and like make their day. Because I have friends who do that. And I want to be more like that. So selflessness in terms of like service, but also relationships. The next one is sharp or smart. I couldn't decide which one to do, but let's go with sharp as in focused. In my dream life, my brain is not scattered. All these S words, right? Scattered versus sharp. My brain is sharp and focused. I am excited about the task at hand. I'm clear on what needs to be done, and I just attack that shit. Like that's how I want to operate. And so I think meditating, honing those skills is really important. I do like the word smart because it indicates you're always learning. I do and don't think I'm a smart person. It's kind of funny. I think I'm a naturally smart person who doesn't hone my intelligence enough to really use it, if that makes sense. So I want to actually be growing and be learning and then be sharp and focused all at the same time. All right, the next one, I'm reading a list from a piece of paper here. It's in all capital letters. Sex. I want to have so much sex with Sean Daddy. He's amazing. Always has been. All right, TMI alert. Mom, dad, in-laws, close your ears for a second because Sean Daddy is, oh my God, he's so good in bed. From the first time we slept together, it was on our second date. Our first date, I resisted it. And on our second date, we got it on. And I called my sister, Lee, first thing in the morning. And I was like, oh my God, I think I screwed it up. I slept with him too soon. And she was like, girl, you're only one date away. You're supposed to wait 3 days. I was like, okay, cool. And then we kept going out. Obviously, we're still together. But like the chemistry, the freaking chemistry. Why am I saying all this? Because we probably don't do it enough. We're in that phase of life where like the kids are sneaking in our bed and we're tired and but why are we leaving so much sex on the table? Because it's so good. It's so good. I'm trying to spice it up. It doesn't always have to be like, after this one Netflix show on Tuesday nights. I want it to be like, here's another S, spontaneous, sensual sex. Okay. So if you have a Sean Daddy in your life, like don't leave those boners on the table. It's really a funny way to say that. Don't leave life on the table. Get it on, take advantage. I'm working on that too. It all comes down to my energy. I always say my 2 biggest cock blocks are tiredness and food babies. So maybe I should work on I'm trying to think of an S word for this. Sprightliness, my fitness, right? I need more energy so that I can get it on more often. But sex is a huge one for me. All right, switching gears. How about safety? Now, when I wrote this down, I realized this could have a lot of meanings to a lot of people, like physical safety, like living in a safe neighborhood, or psychological safety, being able to be yourself after trauma. Those are definitely worth striving for. It's not totally what I meant for my own life. What I actually meant when I wrote this down was financial safety, to be honest. So Sean and I have what I would call a pseudo-diverse portfolio. Let me see if I can rattle it off. So he has his job, he has a W-2 job, and I have this business. So we have those income sources. We have some savings, we have some stocks, we have some real estate, we have some crypto, and I may be missing, I don't know, one other thing that I'm not thinking of. So I think we are covered, but I have been listening to all these podcasts with economists talking about the upcoming recession and how you can prepare yourself. And I have been asking myself, do I feel financially safe? Also, if I were to, I don't know, go into a coma or lose my ability to speak or something that would prevent me from running my business, would we be financially safe? And I'm like, yeah, we've got disability insurance, but like, would we be safe? So to me, in a dream life, these are things that are covered off and I don't have to worry about. So there's a shout out to my girl, Bernadette Joy, who's a nationally recognized money expert. And she talks a lot about safety and freedom. She lives 100% debt free. She went from hundreds of thousands of debt, including student debt, to like 1.5 million of net worth, and she is very financially safe and free. And so to me, that's a state I would love to get to. The next S, how many are there? Isn't this fascinating that these are all S's? Is strength. So again, I kind of meant emotionally strong, but what I really meant was physically strong. So I want like a strong ass body, a very strong body. I want one that can like run fast and run far and jump high and do back handsprings and do twerk outs and like really have a strong body. Right now, I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of in the worst physical shape of my life. You guys have heard me brag about Orange Theory and stuff over the years. I'm not doing any of that right now. And I don't know why. I'm in a season of like slow, like physically slow. I haven't been waking up early. I've been sleeping in. I've been walking a lot. So that's been great and great meditation, but my body is not like strong. And so what I've done recently, I'm kind of embarrassed about this, but there's a picture of myself from spring break 2019 when I was, no, like August 2019. I was sober. I was going to Orange Theory 5 days a week at 5 a.m. and my body is fucking slamming. In fact, I should probably just post it on Instagram. Why would I do that? Because it's so different from how I look right now. Seriously, I'm probably like I had abs. I had like a leg muscle. Like it looks really good. And so I put it as the wallpaper on my phone, which if anybody sees my phone in real life, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why do you have a picture of yourself in a bikini on your phone? That's so weird. But it's to remind me of how strong and amazing I felt at that time in my life. So strength is important. It is really, really important. Like I literally can't even pick up Dylan right now. I can barely pick up Sloan because I have noodle arms. So I think I belabored that point. Emotionally strong, yes, for sure. But I was actually talking about dead ass in this one. All right, what's next? Swanky. Okay, so this one made me LOL when I typed it out a little bit, but I was like, I do want to be swanky. In my dream life, I'm not even going to fuck with you guys. I am on a private jet, going up to New York for dinner, having a bomb glass of wine, coming home on the PJ. Like, I like swanky things. I'm not a connoisseur of them. Like I said, I don't have designer purses, but I am a swanky bitch when it comes to food. I will literally like give my left arm to go eat at Alinea in Chicago or like French Laundry in Napa. Like I would literally, Sean and I talk about this all the time. I'm like, I don't know why you spend so much fucking money on Panthers tickets. It's just a game and you never get to go back. I don't like football. He's like, you would spend that on a dinner? And I'm like, yeah, but it's food. I would spend that on dinner. I love food, like deeply love food. It's got to be somewhere on here. It starts with S where I can get into like culinary stuff. But like, anyway, salt, saltiness. Okay, I'm stretching here. But the point is, I absolutely love swanky stuff and I'm not ashamed of it. And if you love that stuff too, that's all good. You know, I roll around in a t-shirt a lot of the time. I don't think I'm a snob, not that S word, but I think enjoying the finer things is totally good and acceptable. All right, here's an important one. I kind of do want to talk about this. I kind of don't, but sobriety. I want to be sober-ish. There's an episode of this podcast where I read my life vision to you guys, and it said, you know, you speak in the third person, so this is what it said, as awkward as it sounds. Lauren is 95% sober, but enjoys the occasional glass of champagne. It's exactly verbatim. I've got this freaking thing memorized. And that is how I want to operate. I have been dead sober for 16 months, and I have been the opposite. I've been an overdrinker. And I don't want to be either of those. I don't want to be somebody who's like, I can't drink, I don't drink, I have a drinking problem, I don't touch the stuff. But I also need to be somebody who's not on a short leash with alcohol, which I have been known to be. So if I can get into a routine where it's like, no, I don't drink on the weeknights. That's not a thing I do. I don't drink on Sundays. Like, but if I'm out at Steak 48 or I'm out at this restaurant in New York City, I'm not going to not have a glass of champagne, right? Or if one of my clients is celebrating a huge win and they pop champagne or it's somebody's birthday, I'm going to have a glass because I fucking want to. But getting to that state of, I guess I'll call it sober-ish, which is like 95% sober, except for the occasional glass of champagne, is an aspirational goal for me. So if that is for you as well, connect with me. We can talk about this stuff. Again, I'm not sober right now, but I've cut back over the last couple of months, probably 80%. Probably 80%. And I think that's why the squad launch has gone so well, because I've been sharp and focused, and probably some of these other S words, sparkly and whatever else on this list. All right, shout out to Jessica Lackey for the next one because it is seasonal. This is her influence on me. So we've been working together for about, 6 or 9 months, but I've known her much longer. And she's reminded me that life comes and goes in seasons. So you don't have to be all summer or all winter. For instance, I associate summer with like going hard for some reason. I don't know why, but you don't have to be all balls to the wall 24/7. There may be a quarter where you're like really growing. Like the squad launch for me was like a quarter of push. Meaning it was so exciting. Like I didn't mind it at all, but it was a lot of work to set it up and to enroll the people and define the events and get them all booked out. And like it was a push, right? This season of summer for me might be a bit of recovery and like getting my mind and body right. And then coming back out the gate with like really sparkling marketing and speaking events, which is what's happening, by the way. But I like this idea of seasons. And when I look back at my business, I'm like, season doesn't have to be 3 months. 2021 was like a weird transition season for me where I was almost like burning the crops to the ground and planting new seeds. And that's okay. I don't want to have to feel like life has to be all 60 miles an hour all the time. There really are seasons of rest and recovery. Can you believe there are more S words left? I think there's like 5 or 6 left. So I'll buzz through these because you're probably like, oh my God, Lauren, how many S words do you have? Salacious. Yes. Not scandalous, but salacious. I want my life to be a little bit rebellious. I mean it. Like I want to run naked on beaches and I want to go to strip clubs once in a while with Sean or with my girls. I want to dress like a streetwalker sometimes. Like I want to say fuck on LinkedIn. I just want to do things that are not vanilla. And so the best S word I could come up with was salacious. And to me, that's the fish food. You know, remember that episode where I said you can be vanilla, you can be fish food or any flavor in between. Like to me, fish food is fucking salacious. So yeah, this is just about the rebellious streak. The next one is, I couldn't decide between the words, so I combined them together. Sincere storytelling, meaning vulnerability. That's really what that means. So sincerity, meaning being your damn self, like be real, be sincere, and then tell your story. One of my core values is full expression. And that's what I have always promised you guys, is that I won't hold anything back. I will honestly like tell you everything, the good, bad, the ugly, the dirty, the gross. And that's what this is about for me. And I had a coach tell me once that my superpower was storytelling. And the more I told people that my business was fucked up or that my marriage was in trouble or that I did not like the way my body looked, people would actually gain value from that. So it's definitely a value of mine to do this sincere storytelling. The next S is sleep. I don't know what's going on with me lately, but I am so sleepy and actually sleeping a lot more than usual. So I mentioned this a moment ago, but I'm not waking up at 4:45 or 5 o'clock right now. It could be because of summer, another S word. I don't know. We don't have to get up early for the kids or whatever. I've been sleeping. And maybe because I haven't been drinking as much, I'm sleeping better. But in my ideal life, I have world-class sleep. Now, you may have heard my episode of this podcast with Tanessa Shears, who is a sleep expert. She's a health consultant for entrepreneurs and a biohacker. And she's like, start with sleep. And I've been taking that really seriously. There's another S word, seriously. You can't escape them. But ever since I talked to her, I'm just like obsessed with getting that high quality, like world-class sleep. So in my perfect world, I'm going to bed, I'm sleeping through the night, and I'm waking up when I want to wake up. And I'm just radiant the rest of the day. Next one is silly. I love being silly. That's why there's all these like boner jokes and stuff in my business. That's why I'm doing stand-up comedy. That's why I love being irreverent and funny. I just want to run around and be silly. Like Sean and I have matching bathing suits. My friend Heather gave them to us. They're jorts, jean short, a jort Speedo. And I have a jort one piece that has like a big denim pocket on the front. And I'm like, I love these bathing suits. Whenever we get drunk, we put them on because it's silly. And obviously the silliness translates to the girls. And I have, a big S when it comes to the girls, which is why I haven't talked about them yet. But I just love, Sloan is so silly. Sloan is like a little Tasmanian devil stand-up comedian, evil genius. Like she's incredible. She's incredible. And Dylan has a silly streak. Like it doesn't come out as much as Sloan's, but when it does, it's a lot like Sean, because we say Sean's the comedy sniper. Sean's like an introvert. He's kind of shy, but he has these fucking hilarious zingers that come out. And Dylan is the same way. So like all of us being silly, like we go on the hammocks and the trampoline and we do like dance parties. And right before my first stand-up comedy show, I was rehearsing in Sloan's room. Again, God, I can't believe I blacked out my lines. I had them memorized that day, earlier in that day, before the performance. They came in, they're like, Mom, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm rehearsing for my stand-up comedy. And I was holding a mic, like I was holding my other podcast mic because it looks like a stage mic. And the girls grabbed it and they performed their own stand-up comedy and they like roasted each other. They roasted me. They love to roast me for my jiggly butt. Mom has a jiggly butt. That's their favorite joke because it's true, unfortunately. But yeah, just being silly with them, being silly with you guys, like doing this podcast and just talking about weird shit. I never want to stop doing that. And it's a big element of my dream life. Next one, satisfied, otherwise known as grateful. Sean and I have been talking. This one's coming to me right now as we talk. The difference between being satisfied and striving. We didn't use those S words recently, but like they just came to me. So, can you be grateful for what you have and still strive for more? He and I are in this weird limbo of like, do we have the best life ever? Or are we like only, living at like 10% of our potential? We can't decide because some days we're like, everything's perfect. I mean, look at our house, look at these girls, look at our businesses. Like, wow, we're so lucky. And then we meet uber successful people and we're like, are we slackers? Like, are we even good parents? Like, that's what we're going through right now. Our kids are amazing. We're like, are we even good parents? They watch so much YouTube and TikTok. And like, are we even successful? These people we went to dinner with have hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate and we have like 3. You know what I mean? And it isn't about comparisonitis, but it's like, are we grateful for what we have? The answer is yes. And are we striving for more? The answer is yes. I think you can. I think you must do both. I think if you strive without gratitude for what you have, you'll always be left empty, even if you get those things. I experienced this on a small scale in investment banking. Like my salary would grow, but I wasn't any happier, right? Because I wasn't really grateful for the job. I was resentful for the job and the money was a salve, a balm for a few minutes, but like I wasn't actually grateful for it. So that took a twisty turn, but satisfaction, gratitude for what you have is the ultimate vibration of receiving, and striving, stretching, that kind of goes with stretching, like I said earlier, is critical, I think. And so that's what Sean and I are trying to figure out. We're like, what are our next level goals? Because our goals are really small. I mean, relatively small, right? We're like, Sean said to me, he's like, what do you want this year? And I was like, I want my nose job and I want to redecorate the family room. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what you want? He's like, you'll have those. Like, those aren't really stretch goals, right? And I'm like, yeah, what do I want? Like, what do I want? Like, that's big. I mean, do I want to fly on a private jet next year somewhere? I don't know. I really don't. I just made that up. But the point is, what are you striving for? So in my dream life, I am satisfied and striving at the same time. All right, just a couple more. Sparkly, radiant, vibrating high. I like the word sparkly. The only emoji I ever use on Instagram for the most part is the sparkle emoji. I use it for bullets. I use it for sentence enders. I know what it's like to be dazzling and sparkling and stunning. There's an S word, stunning, right? When somebody is stunning, it's not about how they look, it's how they move, right? And I want to be sparkly like a mirror. Let me play this out. I'm kind of verbally processing, but like, I don't want to sparkle so that you look at me and be like, oh, she's sparkly. I want to sparkle so that you see that you too are sparkly. Like, I want to be talking to you and be like, girl, fuck, yes, you are awesome. Like, you want to do that? You should totally do that. Look how awesome you are. To me, that's sparkly. That's letting the shine, if I shine in any way possible, that it's like putting a glow onto you and then your sparkle is putting glow onto me. That's what I'm talking about. So being in that high vibration of like, I'm amazing, you're amazing, I'm amazing, you're amazing. And we're exchanging that vibration, to me is very sparkly and radiant. All right. The next one is self-love. Now there's a lot of talk about this with self-love and self-care, but I aspire and I'm working on being the type of person that looks in the mirror and goes, I love you. And I do this. Like I told you guys, I'm feeling, insecure about my appearance these days. I'm not at the weight I want to be. My skin isn't looking great, whatever. I really try in the mornings to look in the mirror and be like, I love you. You look great. You are beautiful. You are doing good things in the world, right? Like I try and do that. I think the more I do it, the better it goes. And so this self-love isn't about self-importance or arrogance. Like I don't want to put on a thong and walk around and be like, look at me. Like, whoa. I don't want that, but I want to look in the mirror and not just love my appearance, but love what I'm doing and loving myself through the mistakes. That's the hardest. That is the hardest part. Because when you fail, like when I failed at stand-up comedy a couple weeks ago, I was like, you fucking asshole. Like you should have practiced harder. Like who did you think you were? Like you were too smug. You didn't do this enough. And I should have, and I kind of am starting to get there now, like looked in the mirror and been like, I love you for trying that. And you actually did a pretty good job for it being your first one. If one of my friends got on stage and they bombed, I would literally give them the biggest hug and be like, you're badass. You are such a badass. Like, I love you. Why don't we say that to ourselves? So to me, that is a huge element of success. All right, 2 more. And for me, these are the most important ones. I'm so glad they start with S. Sean Daddy. I have been thinking a lot lately, and I don't have the right answer of how I can be a better partner to Sean Daddy. I know he likes acts of service and that, I could do more dishes. I could clean more things, right? I can pick up the girls more. He does a lot of that. But I don't think that's it. I think I'm whispering because he's in the other room and all y'all podcasters are hearing the truth. I think I could push him to unlock his greatness because I've said to you guys on the podcast before, whenever he sets a goal, he achieves it. And his number one blocker is like fully going for it. So I might have mentioned this a minute ago, but I'm hoping to support him in building this real estate investing group because he's great at real estate. He does it for a living. We do it together. I know with more capital and more partners and more eyes on the game, like we could really slay it and become like multimillionaires and make other people wealthy and do good things with that money. I think what I can do is just support his dreams. I think that's the role I can play. I'm whispering because he's right in the other room. And I'm talking about him. So being wildly supportive of what he wants to do and his greatness is, I think, how I can be a better partner. There's all the sex stuff. Like, you could just ride the baloney pony a little bit more often and do more acts of service around the house. But in my perfect world, Sean and I are uber connected, uber supportive. God, we are those things. We kind of are those things though. So yeah, I'm working on this one, but it comes and goes in seasons. Like I was talking about seasons earlier. We're in a great season right now. We've had really rough seasons over the years, like every good marriage. And I just need to remember another S, to be selfless with him and to give him love no matter what, unconditional love for him. All right. The very last one, I said these weren't ranked in order of importance, but these last two, Sean Daddy, and then set an example for the girls. I tried to come up with an S word for daughters. I couldn't find it. So set an example for the girls. So Sean and I were talking in the pool last night and we're like, how can we model? You can't make a child be a certain way. Like we were reflecting on how our parents were and if we turned out like them or not like them. And, one kid turned out this way and then the sibling turned out this way, but they had the same parents. And like we're just talking about all these things. And we're like, we can't make them do, be, or want anything. The best we can do is set an example. So the best way I can think of to parent is to be fully myself, to be authentic, but even if it embarrasses my daughter because I'm twerking all the time and listening to Cardi B out the minivan window, like be myself, which will show them that it's safe for them to be themselves and to have a loving, supportive marriage. We don't hide our fights. We fight in front of the kids. They know we fight, but they also know that we always come back to each other. And entrepreneurship, not that they have to become entrepreneurs, but they have to know that they can make a living doing what they want to do. And that if they do that, they're going to have to do sales and they're going to have to do marketing. Like we talked to them about money and finances and they come help me set up my events. And we took them to Sean's work the other day and we explained what he does for a living. And like, I think setting an example for the girls is the best thing we can do. This comes up a lot for me with sobriety. Like my 9-year-old notices whether or not I have a drink in my hand. And I'm like, maybe the right thing to do is to either not do it or model that it's a very occasional thing to be done safely. Like all of this stuff, all of this modeling. And one area all 4 of us are lacking is discipline. So we're pissed off that the girls are leaving their junk and their dishes and their toys and their plates everywhere, but we're like, we do the same fucking thing. So maybe we could actually like work that discipline muscle by way of modeling it for the kids instead of yelling at them. Get off your YouTube when we're in front of you too. So I think that's the most important one. And to set literally this whole list of S's, if I move this way, if I do all of these things on this piece of paper, I have to believe that we'll be setting a good example for an empowered woman who's living the life that she designed. And that's what I would want for them. I don't care if they're engineers or doctors or real estate agents or entrepreneurs. I don't care what they become, as long as they are loving themselves and moving through the world in a way that feels like they chose it. Okay, guys, that's about it. But just for fun, I'm going to pull up my piece of paper and actually read all 29 of these to you. I think we came up with like 4 or 5 more during the episode. What should I do with this list of 29 S's? Should I write a book about this? Should I do a workshop? Like, this is pretty cool, right? Here we go. These are not part of the 29. Sensual, successful, swoon-worthy life includes significance, swagger, it's streamlined. I'm personally on stages, spirituality and surrender. I'm supported. I've got a squad. I'm being social, stylish, stretching myself, being selfless, sharp or smart. Sex all the time, so much sex. Safety, strength, swankiness. It's a seasonal life. I am sober-ish, a little bit of salaciousness, sincere storytelling, sleep, silly, satisfied, sparkly, self-love, Sean Daddy, and setting an example for the girls. Pretty cool, right? Let me know which of these S's resonated with you. If all of them did, send me a message on Instagram because I will be like, yes, queen, yes, dude, these all resonate with me too. And we can geek out over this. And if you have any ideas what I can do with this list of 29 amazing S's, let me know. Should this be my next workshop where we each fill out one area, one thing we can do in each of these areas to level up our life? I am open to it. All right, guys, that is it. You are amazing. I love you. You're part of my squad. And I will leave you with this. Grab life by the goals, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Grab Life by the Goals podcast. If you loved this episode, I would be thrilled if you subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast so that you can get notified when an episode drops and we can rendezvous like this every single week. If you're feeling frisky, maybe slap a 5-star review on this bitch and maybe even some comments about what inspired you from this podcast episode. This is simply so more people can find us and join our squad of badassery. I love me some Instagram, so come find me. My handle is @LaurenWidrick, and if you screenshot and share this episode with your peeps, I'll come shower you with all the virtual hugs and kisses. Until next time, grab life by the goals, my friend.